Donald Trump is labeled as a populist, and a lot of his supporters are less well off, not as many as the media always claims are, but there are some. And at the same time that he's called a populist, his cabinet is filled with CEOs and Wall Street executives, people from Goldman Sachs and companies like that. It is in fact the wealthiest cabinet in US history, and it's not even close. And so that's a really weird position to be in, holding those two things there. And it leads to some bizarre comments like you're gonna see in this clip.
You appoint a rich person to be in charge of the economy. I said, no, it's true. And Wilbur's a very rich person in charge of commerce. I said, because that's the kind of thinking we want. I mean, really, because they're representing the country. They don't want the money, they're representing the country. And they had to give up a lot to take these jobs. They gave up a lot. When you get the president, this is the president of Goldman Sachs, smart. Having him represent us, he went from massive paydays to peanuts, to little tiny. I'm waiting for them to accuse him of wanting that little amount of money. They wanted that. But these are people that are great, brilliant business minds, and that's what we need, that's what we have to have, so the world doesn't take advantages of it. We can't have the world taking advantage of us anymore. And I love all people, rich or poor, but in those particular positions, I just don't want a poor person. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
And so you hear the cheering there. Screw poor people. Yeah, screw people like me and my family.
Don't put us in power. Make sure you take away our power. What? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's begin to break this down. He says, well, you want people like who is the president of Goldman Sachs. Of course, during the campaign, Trump had said, I know the guys at Goldman Sachs, they have total control over Ted Cruz.
Just like they have total control over Hillary Clinton. Just like they have total control over him.
Now he's bragging about, oh, I got the president of Goldman Sachs on my team.
Yeah.
Like, to him, lies are not an issue. Like, he doesn't view them as a negative at all.
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of a weird thing. Like, some other people have shame. Like, oh, I just told a lie.
He's just consistent.
Yeah, or I'm being hypocritical here. He's like, I don't see the problem.
Well, he probably doesn't remember because he's losing his mind. He also said back in 2016, I know the people on Wall Street, I'm not going to let Wall Street get away with murder. Wall Street has caused tremendous problems for us. So what I'm gonna do is take all those people from Wall Street and put them in Washington. That way they can't do that bad stuff on Wall Street anymore. And yeah, so look at where we're at. He stood in his rally and told everyone there, it's awesome to pack your cabinet specifically with Goldman Sachs executives. And think about how far we've come from drain the swamp.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like I understand, he's not, no one in the audience is gonna lose respect for him from that. I mean, people who are outside of an election going to a Donald Trump rally are about as strong Donald Trump supporters as you can possibly get. It's not gonna hurt him right now, but there will be ads made with him saying, of course you should have Goldman Sachs executives in your cabinet. They'll be run by Democrats. They might be running a primary against him by a Republican. Like, he has gone from the outsider to defending having Wall Street run government.
Yeah, so my favorite part was, they don't want the money. No, of course not. These poor rich people, they've never asked for money except for when they give you political donations, and their number one request is tax cuts, which would give them billions of dollars in returns. They don't want the money. You know what Goldman Sachs' nickname is? Government Sachs. Why? Because it's a revolving door. They go into government, they set the rules in favor of Goldman Sachs, then they come back out of government and make a tremendous amount of money for themselves. So there was a misdirection there. Like, they're making peanuts now. They don't want that. They had to turn down a lot of money to make peanuts. Now, why do you think the president of Goldman Sachs turned down his salary to come inside the government to help poor people? Does it sound like they want to help poor people or the middle class there? No, they have tremendous disdain for you.
Yeah.
So no, the reason he goes into government is so that he can set the rules in favor of Goldman Sachs, come back out, go back into Goldman Sachs and make more money. What do you get for Young Turks membership? It's a mystery. Only one way to find out. TYTnetwork.com/join.